What if you could help others to find the power to heal themselves? Physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
When I started teaching my classes, it was in 2002, and I was just doing the past life regressions and contacting the subconscious part. But then as the time went on and we found how powerful this was and what we could do with it, a lot of the students began saying, you know, advanced past life regression doesn't really tell what it's all about. This is so much more than that. We think you should change the name. So it was a few years ago we decided to change the name to Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. And this is the healing technique that we've now been teaching it, well, since 2002, that's 12 years.
What if you could time travel with them? Visit mythical places or angelic realms, other worlds, other galaxies. Help others to speak to their higher selves. You can. Dolores has taught thousands of people from across the world how to use QHHT, and now you can learn her method by going directly to dolorescannon.com. And don't forget to mention the discount code MORETALKS. Have you ever wondered, can you communicate directly with spirit guides, teachers, or non-physical consciousness, or even our higher selves? What would they tell us? My name is Kevin Moore, and since 2015, I started to practice a form of communication which is termed channeling. I have been interviewing experts on my talk show to find out, does life continue after we die, and can we communicate with those that have crossed over? With each expert I spoke to, they all had different ideas. Is there knowledge from the past which could be shared with the present moment? So I thought, why not just speak to the non-physical world directly through channelers around the world? And that's what I set out to do. They Call Us Channelers will take the viewers on a journey into the phenomena known as channeling. And my main goal with this docuseries is to bring a new understanding and awareness to channeling by looking within ourselves and asking, is it truly possible that we can all use this innate ability?
My name is Arnold, and I'm from Nova Scotia, Canada, and I began channeling Ascended Master St.Germain and the Ascended Masters about 10 years ago. And I have a YouTube channel where you guys can check me out and receive messages from St.Germain to empower those to expand their consciousness and get tips on awakening and learn how to channel yourself.
Yeah, because that's kind of how we met. I think it was that I think you had contacted myself, which I was grateful for you to reach out. But when I looked at your work, that was something that I thought was useful for other people as well, which is that you're teaching people how to channel as well. That's something that you've been doing for a while now, I think.
Yeah, so I have an online course, which is about 80 minutes long, and the Ascended Masters will come through with, in this course, they come through with frequencies of divine light that activate the third eye and crown chakra and give you messages on how to channel, like consciously channel. And then when you're ready, they will begin to teach you how to trance channel. And for those that are having like any blocks or difficulty or don't have the belief that they can channel, everyone can channel. Like everyone on the planet can channel. It's a very natural state for all of us. And it's more easy than just talking. So right now I'm having more difficulty speaking, but channeling, it comes very natural for everyone. And if you're interested in it, then you can do it. So usually if you're interested in something, then it means you're good at it already. So if you have an interest in channeling, if you like to watch videos on channeling, it means you're already good at it. And St. Germain's now offering a course like with me where I trance channel him one-on-one so that he can teach you specifically for where you're vibrating at and what your needs are. He trance channels messages and the like vibrational frequencies to connect the right and left brain so that your brain can trance channel, and they bring through frequencies to like lift any blocks, and they give you the messages and tell you why they might go into a past lifetime of why you're having blocks to trance channeling. And I'm receiving really great shifts with this. There's a lot of great feedback because it's happening really fast for people because the collective has expanded their consciousness. And everyone's ready. So if you'd like to have a master class with St. Germain, a one-on-one session to learn how to channel, it will empower you and it will speed up your process of it.
So I just want to get to know a bit about yourself as well, because I think it'll be interesting just for those getting into this subject, how, we've all got a story. We all go through different shifts in our life, don't we? So who was Terry before this work? Just take us back a bit here as well, how you got onto this journey.
Okay, so when I was a child, I received messages from, at the time I didn't know who it was, but it was like Jesus. And so before anything would happen, like if something traumatic or stressful, like they would give me a message. I would hear it kind of like they're standing beside me talking. I don't hear messages like that anymore. They come in with like frequencies and then I translate them when I'm in trance. But as a child, they would just give me messages and a knowing just not to share the information they were giving. Like, so if somebody was about to pass away, they would say like, your grandmother's going to pass away and everything's okay. And then they would just fill me with divine light. And it was just so normal. And I just thought that everybody kind of had that. It's like, I thought it was like a guardian angel or, and then of course, when we get into like teenage years and our 20s, there's, because of being empathic, there's a lot of us that turn to like addictions and partying. And so I went into that area for a while and then got into this third dimension. Oh, I've got to get a career. So I became a nurse, went to school, became a registered nurse. I did that for 12 years. And during nursing, I had shut all that off. Like I wasn't into spirituality in my 20s. And I kind of turned it off. And then I created an illness or an injury in nursing. So I went back to school and took some energy healing courses. And so when I was taking these energy healing courses, everything kind of opened up again. So like Reiki and courses like that. And I became a natural therapist. So I left nursing, resigned from nursing and started doing natural therapy. And then when my clients would come in, I would start getting all these messages and I wasn't giving them. So my clients stopped. So I was like, well, why are my clients stopping? And it was Jesus who first came in. So he came in as Yeshua is what he told me his name was. And then he said, well, if you're not going to give our messages, then we're not going to send you the clients. And I said, well, how do I know that they've received them? And I said, well, if they won't receive them, we won't give them. So I'd get a client and get no messages. And then the next client, I would get messages. So then I got comfortable consciously just giving them messages for guidance as I was doing their natural therapy treatments. And I also started channeling art at the same time. And so I was doing the art and the healing, energy healing. And eventually I just let the natural therapy go and began trance channeling for people. But how I got into trance channeling was I was having a natural therapy client and St. Germain came in and said, he came in, he said, I'm St. Germain, I'm going to be working with you. This is how I'm going to show you how I'm going to be working with you. And then he blended his energies with mine and it got really, really heavy because I wasn't used to his frequencies. And so, and then he shot different frequencies through each of my chakras. And my client laying on the table was actually had a past lifetime with Saint-Germain, was very comfortable with channeling. And so he was training me through her because her spirit was quite open to it. So when they were bringing through frequencies through each chakra, she would feel it in her chakras. But I didn't really believe it. So I got my husband to come in after she left. And I was like, can you show me again? And then he could feel it too. And I was like, okay, so that's how it's going to work. So I kept doing the natural therapy, and then it was just naturally coming through, and I could see like big shifts with people's energy fields, and then he kept telling me to speak, and it took me a long time because of all the fears, and I'd clear all the past lifetimes of persecution, and we're raised very Catholic. My family's not interested in like my family doesn't channel, they don't know. Yeah, that's not their interest. So I didn't really have any I didn't really know anybody who channeled, so I kind of had to just get over my fears. And so it took about 4 months before I would speak. And then once that happened, it came in slow at first because I had to each week when I had the same client come in, she would come in, the one that he started with, he would bring in the next layer of frequencies, and then it would get my body, physical body had to integrate that. So it was a lot of chakra clearing, a lot of dark night of the soul, as I was clearing out my chakras. And Mother Mary appeared and said that I'd be clearing like hate for humanity, and there was a lot of heart chakra clearings with that went on for a few years. Just a lot of like, they would start in the middle of the night, they would wake me up, and just, you know, all this energy of frequencies would come through my heart chakra to be transmuted. So it was kind of like a combination of both. And now it's like so easy, and he's just empowering people to channel and find and speak their own truth, and, you know, and question, like, you know, when I channel, it's my truth, but what is yours? So as I'm channeling, he wants people to ask, like, he wants them to find their own truth. He doesn't want you just to hang on, like read a book and believe that. He's like, pick what you believe out of the book, but then what is your truth, and find your own truth. Like, question what Tara's channeling and ask if that's your truth too. And then therefore, when you start to channel, you'll be channeling your truth and not somebody else's. So he's really firm with that, in empowering people to find their own truth, because there's many truths, and they're going to channel from where they're vibrating at. So everyone can channel, but they can only channel from where they're vibrating at. So if they're vibrating in fear, they're going to channel fear. If they're vibrating love, they'll channel love. But everyone can do it. And I'm really excited to share this with people and be given this opportunity to assist others. Especially because I know how fearful it was, like when you're alone and you don't have anybody to ask. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hats off for you taking that road by yourself without nobody around you and no support, right? Were you reading any sort of material that was related to channeling at the time? Was there something you? Yep.
Yeah, so I found people online like Wendy Kennedy. She said on her show, I found your show. You know, like your show is a great tool, and great. It gives people a lot of confidence and encouragement and empowerment. And so I really appreciate that. Like I finding your show was it really gave you the confidence, you know, and that you weren't alone, and that other people are doing it, and it's safe. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's interesting that you was a nurse and then you sort of transitioned at the latter part of your career. Well, not that late in your career, but I mean, you'd been doing it for many years, and then you finally transitioned. But there's that nursing side of you, that caring side to help others, and yet it was always there. And I'm guessing nursing's not something that you're currently doing anymore. This is now your full-time work, is it?
Yeah, so this is my full-time work now, and then I do the channel, the artwork as well. So like I'll sell like art prints and original art. So I do it kind of half and half. Like I'll paint for a few days and I'll do readings. I offer different types of readings on my website. I have like Ascended Master readings where I go into trance, and then past lifetime readings where I go into trance, and then children's angel readings where I consciously channel. And then the children's ones are really empowering. They empower them to get like a lot of confidence. And then my other reading is like intuitive life path, where I use a little bit of numerology as well, and consciously channel. So for those people that aren't comfortable with trance channeling, then I have other options.
That is interesting. So, yes, the website is
TaraArnoldArt.com.
excellent. Okay, so that's where people can contact you. That's where the courses and the work that you do is. We're just putting in bits of information on the screen now, just related to your website as well. So, gosh, it's been a whole journey for you, hasn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like transitioning to believe in what you're doing, right? When was the point where you said, you know what, this is my, this is my perspective, my truth. This is what I'm meant to be doing. When was that? Do you remember that time of making that choice?
Yeah, when St.Germain, like when he fully like came, when I had that first client where he came in, and it was almost like, it was just like a knowing, because I had been asking, like all of us are asking for, and so sometimes you got to be careful what you ask for. But I had asked, how can I be in service? It was like 2010. I just woke up one morning, it was New Year's Eve, and I just sat up in bed. I was like, oh, I know why I'm here. It's something spiritual. Like it just was like, so I kept asking, how can I be in service? And then I had found the channeling online and was interested in it. And I was like, is that something I could do? And then I tried it. I had my husband, I was like, try to put me in hypnosis. We were just kind of playing around, and then my body would shake. And so it was like, oh, that's, kind of neat. And then I actually didn't realize I was like I'd go to sleep and I would go into a trance state like instantly, but I didn't know what it was. So and then my body would, I was like, there's something going on. It feels like I'm in trance. Like I'd say that to my husband. And it was a long time after that before I realized, oh, I was in trance like instantly, like after all that chakra work that I had done, like with Mother Mary and stuff. So like Mother Mary had come before St.Germain came in. So yeah, I just didn't realize. So I think a lot of people that like people that watch your channel and stuff, like a lot of them are right there and they just aren't aware that they're like great channelers. So it's really interesting, like, or how many people are empathic and they're not seeing it as receiving messages. Like, you meet people all the time, I imagine, that are really sensitive to energies, but then they're like, oh, no, I'm not. They just don't believe it. Yeah.
Yeah, I work with one of them. Don't worry. Yeah, absolutely. That's so true, actually. The thing with the sort of trance channeling, I've obviously on my journey met a lot more conscious channelers, right? So the trance channeling, it's definitely more rare. That's very interesting to meet someone who's doing it from that perspective. Do you remember much when you trance channel?
Yeah, so Saint Germain said, like, 40 years ago or 100 years ago, because we weren't consciously expanded enough to be part of it, they would fully take over. So a lot of people would go into trance and not remember, but now because we're all awakening, our spirit wants to be part of it too. So he's like, it's a blending of energy. So everybody that they're teaching now, or everybody that starts to trance channel now, what he's telling me is that they will be always conscious while they're in trance. So while I'm in trance, there's another aspect of me that's having a conversation with him while I'm speaking, but I can still hear it. the deeper I go into trance, the more of him and his personality comes out. So when I go to teach these courses with him, he first shows me how deep in trance that person is. So a lot of times they're like, it's like he shows me on a level, on a scale. So they might be up here, and by the end of the session, they're down here, because he's like, I can get them deeper into trance. They just have some fears to let go of. So we're all channeling, whether you're channeling the ego consciousness or heart consciousness. So every time someone creates, they're channeling, like if they're a musician, they're channeling, but every time we speak, we're channeling the ego consciousness. So it's like, oh, it's just switching to channeling heart-centered consciousness, and it's really not that much different. Like, people are expecting it to be really difficult, and he said the block is that people think it's difficult, but it's very easy. It's more natural than consciously channeling. It's really like it comes out like really fast and easy, because what happens is they're bringing in light language frequencies, and then your brain translates it, and everyone recognizes light language. Everyone understands it on a soul level. So some people channel light language. It kind of overrides the ego. I don't channel light language. I translate light language. Maybe down the road, I will be channeling that. But there's some people that are like, oh, I channel light language, but I can't trance channel. That means that they know how to trance channel already. They just need to remove a few blocks. Like it's already there. So they're saying that they're not translating. So he'll just teach you how to translate. I forget what question we're on.
Don't worry. Yeah, no, I was just saying there about just your ability to trance channel and how unique it is. In some ways, you may not feel it's so unique, but it's not. A lot of people tend to conscious channel, and it's really interesting what you're saying there, actually, where the idea that we switch from the heart, from the ego sort of trance, ego channeling to the heart channeling, and that's our modality. Even we're not even, that's happening all the time, in a sense. Well, that we're channeling our ego self.
Right.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. It's so if people are vibrating in fear, they're going to channel fear. So they're channeling the ego consciousness. So some people, well, how do I know if I'm channeling? I'm like, well, is there fear behind your words? Is there fear, is there anything negative? Like, well, they don't like to use terminology negative, because they just see that everything is not good, bad, right, or wrong. It's energy. So it's like, are you channeling something that you consider dark? And then the darkness is the ego. It's like, it's the dark is the light that has forgotten it is love. And it's like, it's just where are you vibrating at, and who do you want to channel, and choose that, and that's what you'll channel. It doesn't have to be anything fearful. It's quite easy, and if you're heart centered, it's always your intention. So some people are thinking, well, the Ascended Masters are more important than me, and the Ascended Masters are saying, if you believe you're more important, we're more important, we can't reach you, because you're taking your vibrational frequency and saying, we're up here and you're here, and then you want to have a conversation with us. But if you saw us as equal, then we can match frequencies. So if it's always your intention. So even if your ego's saying, oh, I can't channel, or I'm not good enough, or, I wouldn't be worthy, all you have to do is change the belief that they're equal, and then they can, and have the heart-centered intention that you would like to channel divine love, and it will come to you. And it's really commanding what you're allowing in your reality. It's not your spirit guide's reality. So if you're indecisive, the universe responds to that frequency and gives you indecisiveness. If you are confident and say, I command, you evoke the God within you or the universe within you to create that reality. And so if you command that your spirit guides come in, they'll be there as long as you're heart-centered. There's no block. It's like our belief that there's a block that they can't connect. But if you have good intention, they're there. They're just all standing there waiting and saying, can you just command us what you want? It's choosing. So St. Germain saying, Like right now, he's saying it's exact same as you pick your friends on planet Earth. You pick your spirit guides like you pick your friends. Like, who do you want to play with? Where do you want to play? When you're playing, you're in a high frequency and we can hang out like we're old friends, you know? So.
It's funny, I've got a docuseries that I'm working on, and one of the people who is involved in this docuseries that we're looking at as well, she talks about having channel sessions with her friend. And her friend channels one of the deceased relatives of the family. And this deceased relative is guiding this lady, whose name I'll say is Joanna Richards, guiding Joanna to say that everything you're doing, Joanna, is perfectly great. You're promoting my story through my son, who's locked up in, who's serving life without the possibility of parole in prison, and what he's telling you about that we worked on UFOs and we flew around the universe is all true, and you're doing a great job pushing this story. And of course, you know, when you look into the story, none of it's true. It's all bunk. It's all junk. It's just nonsense, right? It's not true. So her friend who channels for her is at that level of believing in Mark's story, in this person that's locked up story, that they're both groupies of what would be a guy that's able to mentally manipulate people, which he's mentally abused his wife to manipulate her into the position that she's in, and she's agreed to it on a soul level, I'm sure, as well. But when people bring through misinformation disguised as channeling, that's just where they're at. That is what they need to hear at the conscious level. They're bringing it through, and whatever's coming through is having a fun day, I guess. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yes. So, and that's why St.Germain says always question it. So when you hear somebody channel, it's like, is that my truth? Check in. Where does it feel? How do you feel in your chakra system? Like, is it feeling good? If it feels good, then it's vibrating where you're channeling at. So if I listen to channelers 10 years ago, where I'm vibrating at now is different. So I would have been drawn to people who were deeper in their ego because I was deeper in my ego then. So it's like, and that was my truth back then. And so now if I saw the same channelers, it wouldn't resonate with me. So when people are watching my channel and then they stop watching my YouTube channel, like, celebrate. That means you expanded your consciousness past where I can channel, or like where I'm vibrating at, and you're going to move into a higher frequency. Like, this is a celebration. It's like when your friends start to fall out of your life, when you're awakening, celebrate because you've expanded your consciousness. It's the same with channeling. If a channeler no longer resonates, it's because you're letting go more of the ego and expanding past where they're vibrating at. And it's a celebration. It's a good thing. So yeah.
So I thank you for that. So yes, if a channel is bringing through misinformation, or they're letting their they're letting their conscious self get in the way of the information, or they're purposefully manipulating it at points which suits them, right? That can happen as well. Then, as you say, you will at some point break free of that. But maybe in that manipulation, it's just what the soul needs. The soul knows best. Would Saint-Germain say that the soul is the one that's sort of also pushing that person past that channeler as well onto something that's more useful, more authentic, and more expanding for the person as well, to become their better version, if they're going to move past what is actually manipulation?
Yeah. So exactly what you just said. It's like, they'll move past it. Like, they'll understand from where they're vibrating at, and it'll resonate from where they're vibrating at. And
right.
I think that's what you're asking, right? It's
yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly what you said.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm up for being wrong, but I don't think I know I'm not. I mean, you know, and
you're quite a channeler yourself. Like, your knowing is like bang on. like you're right, like, yeah. So you're channeling your truth. And
Yeah, I put all that on hold actually. When I was going to make this into a documentary, this was going to be a documentary first. It was never meant to be, 115 plus shows, right, of individual episodes. But when I was going to make the documentary to begin with, and I still may do the documentary one day, and maybe that's why I'm doing all these individual interviews. Everyone's going to be a part of that. It could well be, right? I've thought about that. But when I started making it, yes, I was channeling. That's what got us into wanting to do the channeling docu-series. But I sort of stopped it all, and I think there was embarrassment as well, or I felt that, not just that, there was that back then, maybe not as much now, but I think I felt that maybe I couldn't do it justice if I didn't switch that off and actually try to come from the perspective of searching for, or coming from that, bit more journalistic perspective, I suppose. Do you know what I mean? And trying to be neutral with it. That's my excuse.
Yeah, you don't have any judgment on it either, and you're quite interested in it because you're a great channel already, and it's like your inner child or your passion is like doing these interviews and stuff. Like obviously you're really good at them, but Saint Germain's saying that you're a great trance channel. So he's also showing me that you have a past lifetime with him. So I don't know. Maybe he wants you to channel him. So when you channel, like if you're open to it, because it's always your. But when we channel, so if I'm channeling Saint Germain, the aspect I channel of him is from like the 17th century, like his last lifetime. There might be another channeler that channels Saint Germain and is channeling a different aspect of him, like a different lifetime or just a different aspect of whatever messages he wants to bring through. So there's a lot of people that are going to be channeling Saint Germain for the Aquarian age, is what I'm saying. Like so if there's people that are interested watching your show right now that are interested in channeling Saint Germain because they feel drawn to him, he's trying to get your attention. He's like, yes, I want to start channeling through you. I get my teachings out there, empower people to, find the truth within themselves. So it's not just me that's channeling Saint Germain. There are many, many that are channeling him. And yeah, so he resonates with you and your energy. So if you were interested in channeling him, he'd be quite open to. He keeps saying he was calling you old friend. That's how I knew. So he's like, oh, he's my old friend, so
that is
that's
interesting.
How I
No,
know.
that's very interesting that you say that. So obviously on your website, you're teaching, or one of your sort of teachings has gone into how to channel, right? Which again, I think is really important. So just go over what those courses are and how they work as well.
Okay, so the first course, it's 80 minutes and it's pre-recorded, and it teaches you the basics of consciously channeling, and Saint Germain gives some tips, and I just speak like I'm speaking now and teach that course, and the Ascended Masters will bring through frequencies of divine light during the course, and whatever your spirit's ready to receive, that's what you'll integrate. So if you integrated it and it activated your third eye a little bit, your intuition would increase. The next time you watch it, you'll receive the next layer of frequencies. So if you watch it a couple times, but even so it's always up to your spirit how you receive. It's not how the Ascended Masters are always bringing through really high frequencies of divine light, but it's always up to the person I'm doing a reading for, the person that's watching the course, on what they wish to receive. So they bring it through, the frequencies come through my YouTube channel, but some people might be like, oh, no, I don't want to receive any. They won't feel anything. So the more the person's open to it and not afraid of it, their spirit's like, yeah, I'll receive a whole bunch. Then they'll have a bigger shift. But like a shift in consciousness, they'll have like more intuitive abilities awaken at that time. then once they're comfortable with the conscious channeling, then they can book an appointment, and he teaches them specifically for where they're vibrating at on how to channel. And it doesn't specifically have to be the Ascended Masters. So in fact, everyone I've done it for is like, a lot of them are interested in channeling Saint-Germain. They already have their spirit guides that they're working with, and they want to trance channel them. So that's who he teaches them, like how the person's, like how the entity, how they're going to come in and what's going to happen, and removes their fears. So he brings through, a lot of times it's just like the inner child doesn't feel safe. And so they make her feel safe or him feel safe. And then it's like, boom, like you're channeling. So that's kind of how it works.
Thank you for that. So when people come for a reading with yourself, then is it the case that that people can ask most questions, but actually when it comes to the session, maybe some of that dissolves away sometimes and it turns into something else?
Yes. And the Ascended Masters empower you to create a life you desire. So if it's like, it's different than a psychic reading. So psychic readings, they're like, oh, tell me the answer. And the Ascended Masters are like, no, we're going to tell you, here's where you're at. Here's where you want to be. We're going to tell you how you can create that and how to get there. So it's empowering people rather than just saying what's going to happen. And also the vibrational frequency of the planet has sped up, like time has sped up because it's like folded space. And so they're saying that before, like 50 years ago, you go to a psychic and the time was kind of stretched out. So they're like, oh, this is going to happen then, but now everything's happening now. So even if you did a prediction video, everything's changing so fast that within like, a few weeks, that all that could be changed depending on where the collective's vibrating at. It's like, it's changing so fast right now. So it's
we
like
live in
more
different times.
Empowering people to change their vibration to create their reality and what they desire. And a lot of times it's getting out of your comfort zone. And I'm not comfortable with interviews, and it's like, okay, if it's going to make me uncomfortable, that's the universe telling me to do it. Because as soon as you make yourself uncomfortable, then the energy changes. And it's like, so every day I try to do something, or not try, because they tell me not to use that word, but it's like every day I do something out of my comfort zone, because that's where the magic happens. That's what moves the universal energies. So
well, I'm glad that you reached out, because I'm so happy to give you this audience and to share this audience with you, who are going to be happy to have you on board, and to hear what you've got to say as well. So I'm very happy that you did reach out. How has this journey changed you in a sense? Because obviously I ask this question in different ways to people, but I'm just thinking of you and your husband right now. I'm thinking, wow, he must have seen a shift in you from the person that he knew back in the day, right, to where you are now. I mean, there must be a noticeable change.
Yes, and thank you for saying that. I appreciate being on your show. I appreciate this opportunity. He's been on board with me. He's so supportive. At first, it was like, do you want me to pack the bags and take you to the psych ward? Like, what's going on? And so I was like, so I told my spirit guides, I was like, okay, like Mike's thinking I'm crazy. Like, can you like show him something? And then he had one of them come to him. And so then he was like, okay, I'll never question it again. And then from then on, he was on board. And he actually, because everyone around you, so wherever you're vibrating at or expanded your consciousness, everyone around you begins to download that frequency, or they say, no, I don't want it. So just naturally, because I got into channeling, he started to just expand his consciousness, and he receives messages. Like if he's like, his knowing's bang on, like he's always channeling, but he's more like into music, and so he's not interested in like doing readings and stuff, but he could, like it just naturally happened. So Yeah, so it's
Well, I am so glad for you that you've got that support there, and I know it was very needed to help you just soften this a bit. Yeah, that's so good. Because some people, obviously, on this journey do not have the easiest transition into this type of work, neither. I'm sure you've seen that.
yeah, because like I was raised very Catholic, like strict Catholic, and so was he. And we had, like, because I work with Ascended Masters, there was a lot of clearing of the Catholic religion belief system. So they would, I create my reality, like a lot of attacks that way, like of people that are afraid of like darkness or the devil, or like, so it was like a lot of attacks from neighbors, family, a lot of being ostracized, like, yeah. So it was difficult that way, but it was like the biggest gift too, because I get to transmute a lot. And I was also so what Saint Germain showing me right now is, like, on our journey, when you have an experience, you experience it to the deepest darkness so that you'll know the polarity of that in light. And so we create, because I wanted to trans channel, obviously later on in life, I would create like the polarity of what I was on a really deep level. So if you met me, like, you would say, like, as a child, like extreme low self-confidence, low self-esteem, could not find the love within myself at all, because it was like I had to have that vibration and then kind of climb up, or be able to find that love within myself, but on the deepest level. So a lot of people that are like saying, well, I wouldn't be good enough to channel, but they're interested in it, it's because they're already great at it. It's just that they're experiencing that level so that they can know the polarity of that in light. It's like, how do you know what you are if you have nothing to compare it to? So if you go to the deepest darkness, then you have the most conscious expansion. And so it's like just not seeing ourselves as victims, but, so Saint Germain always says, you're not victims of suffering, you're warriors of experience. And it's like our spirits are so happy to have this game to play of this frequencies, to explore frequencies and the polarities of what we are. And it's just a game. He keeps reminding us of that. I'm still like, they don't interfere with my journey. As many of channelers you interviewed, like when I'm not channeling, like I still go through my ego, shatters, and I'm crying, and he's like, don't be a victim, like, embrace the gift. So I find I do get excited if it's a deep darkness, because I'm like, oh, if I'm experiencing this deep darkness, once it's transmuted, I'm gonna know that in light. I'm going to be that light. So it's, our journey back to what we already are. It's never has left us. And when you actually channel, you're channeling, they're not coming from outside of us, they're coming from within us. And it's like, that you are like everyone is awakening. It's like, oh, I am the universe. So how could the Ascended Masters be more important than you if you already are them? Like, you are everything, like everything's one energy. So it's if you see them as not just the Ascended Masters, but anybody you want to channel and that you would consider like divine light, you are that divine light. So if you see it as equal and you have heart-centered intention, they can easily come to you, and you can really find out your own truth and live your own truth by just having this constant connection. And you can channel the universe if you don't want to put it in, like I pick spirit guides because I like to have friends, but some people don't like friends. They can channel the universe just like Eckhart Tolle,
right.
It doesn't have to have an identity.
That is so true, isn't it? He is channeling the universe, isn't he? When you look at it, absolutely. Because I think to myself sometimes, right, hang on a minute, where's this ego part of him's kind of gone, and well, the depth of wisdom that he brings through sometimes. none of us speak like that unless we're in some altered mode, and I think he's just not putting it on. He's not
Right.
yeah, there's a mask, isn't there, that it seems like it's him, but it's that he's channeling that greater part of him, isn't he? That's all he's doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's so interesting. Thank you.
So Saint Germain brings in the violet flame, and he keeps pointing out that you have the color on your wall behind you. So there's one sign that, you know, if you want to channel him, he's there, you know.
Just before we bring in Saint Germain, and we're just about to bring him in, with people that are feeling a draw to get a session with you as well. So, you know, they can come into that session with any questions that they are troubling them in a sense. And I'm sure, as we said before, that sort of session does transform into something else. But you are able to you know, be asked most questions.
Yeah, they can ask anything, and all questions are good questions. The Ascended Masters don't judge, and so if they don't judge anything. So if you think it's a silly question, they're not thinking it is. And if you don't know what question to ask, they do.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you for that. Yeah.
They know what you're where you're vibrating at.
Interesting. Excellent. Thank you so much. So we're going to bring in Saint Germain. How what is the process for you? How do you sort of go down or go through?
So there's two ways that I can channel, and the first one is you could ask question, then he answers, and then the second one is this one. Is he can, because time doesn't exist. So he'll channel based on where everybody's vibrating at and what questions they have on who's going to watch this video in the future. So he would, it's like when I do those ones, it feels like I'm kind of flying through space. And he taps into the vibrational frequency of, so say that you have like, I don't know, 1,000 people watch this. He'll tap into where they're all vibrating at and give them messages based on their vibration. And then sometimes he'll pick specific questions to answer, like one or two. But he doesn't say their names because of privacy. He'll just show me what their question is, and then.
Okay. You know what? That sounds fascinating. It doing it that way. I mean, I may ask some questions afterwards if we have the time, if you still got the energy to do this, right? But I think just giving a general message, that might be really interesting, actually.
Yes, and if the thing with those ones is it takes me a little bit longer, so you might have to edit it out.
Don't even worry about that. Yeah, we'll take care of that.
What happens is when they go into the future, I find they transmute a lot of fears and stuff, and so sometimes they'll like kind of, it's like almost like they have to release it through breathing. So it just takes me a couple more minutes.
Well,
I don't know.
Let me then ask you some questions first before we start that, if that's okay. Because I think he's here now. This energy is here now. Oh, you tell me what's best for you.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I'm fine with either. I feel like he wants to talk to you like directly.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
I don't know if it's something that like you want to cut out after, or if you want to leave it. But
no. It's cool.
So we can start with that, and then if I'll just
if there's a
in.
message to give, yeah. If you feel like doing that message thing, it's there. If not, we can always come back another time and record that. That's fine. Don't there's other times. There's not just this.
How about we have like just a little private message for you just to start? We'll go into channeling for everyone. So if you want to, because he's calling you old friends, so I just like maybe he just wants to say hi. But I feel like he has a specific message for you if you're open to it.
Absolutely.
Okay, I gotta drink lots of water. So trance channeling, you have to drink twice as much water.
Right.
If I don't have enough water, it feels like, when a battery is about like a toy that's battery operated, it's about to run out of energy. That's what it feels like. So sometimes I stop to drink water. welcome. I'm St.Germain. Kevin, we are showing our channel that you are not only a good channel, but a great channel. We are all here if you are wanting to receive our messages. There is no block for you to receive them. This is that we have had past lifetimes together. We have had, I would say, I am showing our channel that in my last lifetime, we were friends. This would be that we have had conversations quite easily and readily in that lifetime, and we could do that again. It is not up to us, it is up to you. Obviously, it is your reality, not ours, but we are open to joining you in conversation at any time. Okay, so I'm just going to look and see if he's showing me anything. Yeah, no, it's just, he was just letting you know that if that's somewhere you want to play, and then they pulled back. So they're just like, that's it. Like, he knows, like they're saying that you have your journey with them. Like they already, yeah, like they're already connecting somehow, whether it's like, I don't know, something that you come across in a book or something with Saint Germain's name, or
No, I've met him before.
Also, yeah, I forgot to mention that when you receive a channeling with Saint Germain too, a lot of times, like after, you'll start seeing the violet flame in your third eye. For those people who don't see it, he'll activate this violet flame, and the violet flame doesn't come, it's like from outside of us, it's within our heart. So it's like an activation, and you can use that violet flame to transmute frequencies. And so it's just like, that's what I saw, is him like activating something. So and then when you're doing interviews, it's going to come through to the people you're interviewing or your audience, because he's like, when you're already channeling like divine light through you when you're interviewing people, and then it's all the thousands of people that view your videos are receiving from you as well. It's not just the channeler. So that's what they're saying. If you want to take it deeper, you can go deeper with it, and they can bring through deeper or stronger frequencies that are coming out of your chakras to your audience, because you have a like huge platform, he's saying. Like, so it's up to you, but yeah.
Yeah, no. I've just, my brain's just all over the place just there. You know, it's funny when that was coming, when he's saying that, or they're saying that, you know, I see a stage and I see lots of people in front of me, and I'm giving messages, and I'm like, oh my God, you know, I don't want that life, but at the same time, I know it's there. Isn't that so weird?
Yeah, and it's just choosing where you want to play. They don't have any judgment on it. So it's like, if you didn't want to go that route, that's okay too. It's just, where does your inner child want to play? They're saying ask your inner child.
Yeah, but isn't it weird? I wasn't even, before you came on, right? I wasn't even thinking about this, right? Yeah, right. This was just, to be honest with you, right? This is just one of a few interviews and a big work schedule that I've got right now, right? So, you know, sorry if I came on a bit stressed out when I came on. There's just a lot going on. It's just sleep, work. Yeah. You know, it really is, right? And but now, when what just came through there, and even just before that, I was getting the vision, right? And I'm like, wow, that's available. I think that's what the aha is like. I wasn't even seeing that it was available.
He keeps pointing to your the purple behind you. He's like, we were always behind you with the violet flame. It's like right there, like you chose those colors because you're resonating with that. He's like, that's the frequency he brings in, is that violet flame, the seventh ray, or whatever they call it. So that's the color that they come in with. Then his female aspect is Portia, and she brings in pink colors. So if you know, you might see that too. And but yeah, usually like after a channeling with him, like you'll start to see, do you see the violet flame in your like when you shut your eyes, do you ever see violet behind in your third eye?
No, not all. No, but it's always a color. I didn't. That was chosen by mistake. I always thought, right? Do you know? I wanted to make that all black soon because that's where I feel my heart's just gone recently. No, I'm joking, right? No, I actually wanted to make it all black because it was just one color. That was all right. But that color has always. I've always been okay with that color. Let me just say that. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's it. That's so interesting. That little bit of what they had to say. I say he, they. You know what I mean. That's so weird. Okay, it's not weird.
Yeah.
It's. Why is that path available to me? I mean, but I get. You know, sometimes what you resist persists in a sense. It
Yeah.
chases after you, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I resisted interviews and stopped all my clients. I had like, they stopped all my clients. And I was like, why are my clients stopping? It's like no income, you know? And then it was like, well, you've got to get out of your comfort zone. So I was like, no, you know, and they're like, you've got to, you know, expand. I'm like, no, no. And they just didn't send any clients. And I just had to, I call them clients, but like readings. So I had to change it up. And so that's when I emailed you. And then I didn't hear back. And I was like, oh, thank God, I don't have to do an interview. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, they push us out of our comfort zones. And then I just posted that masterclass. And then you emailed. And I was like, oh, St.Germain was waiting for me because he wanted to teach. And the readings I find are like, it's more of the teaching. He's like, we're here to teach. I want to teach. And so he's like, I feel like the readings are going to kind of stop while he just teaches. So,
You know, it's funny. I see more and more people coming into channeling, right, which is a fantastic thing, and there is a slightly more people now doing the sort of stage, you know, or online, you know, the Zoom session channelings, but they're not doing the sort of the readings as well. Where do you see yourself going in this? Because that's something I wanted to ask you earlier on, actually, as well. Where do you see your work evolving? Because you're sort of pushing yourself out of your comfort zone now, and things are going to go in slightly different directions, I feel, for you.
right. So I tried to do live group, or not tried. They don't let me use that word. So I did do group sessions, and I had a lot of panic and fear around it. My inner child feel safe. I did it several times and it wasn't that comfortable. And so that's why I started on YouTube. And that felt a lot more comfortable. I mean, I had to clear a lot around being on camera too. My natural state is very shy, I'm very quiet. I like to like create by myself. Like I'm personable. Like I get along with people and I'm friendly. But the most comfort is just by myself. So the YouTube, it's like I haven't been allowing that to grow too fast either, because it's like, well, my inner child always has to be safe. So yeah, this interview is quite like, putting myself out there. So I still felt kind of hidden with my small YouTube channel, like.
Yes. Well, not forever now, right? Which is great.
Right. So when it starts to grow, it's like you can feel that panic. So yeah, so I self-sabotaged a lot that way, but now I'm not self-sabotaging. So it's like, okay, my inner child's feeling more comfortable. I don't know about doing groups in person, but like online, YouTube, I feel safe with that growing. Yeah, I've never, and maybe that's why I do I see like the teachings, like this one-on-one, because I couldn't figure out how to make a course. If everybody's vibrating at different rates, then it's very hard to teach somebody how to trance channel if I can't tap into each vibration individually. So it's like I couldn't figure it out. And my husband is like, you have to have like a class. He's like, call it a master class, because like the play on words, Ascended Master, you know. And so on Zoom, and I just having that many people look at me at once, I wasn't comfortable with that. Like if it was a group, and then it just occurred to me, well, I could do one-on-one, and then that's working a lot better because it's very specific to exactly where they're vibing.
And that works for you. Yeah, I got you. I got you. Yeah.
I feel like those will grow, and then my YouTube channel will grow. As for speaking like or channeling in front of large groups, I would attempt it again, because I do push myself out of my comfort zone and just see how, you know, how safe my inner child felt now, because it's been a while. But yeah.
Interesting. No, that's great. That's beautiful. Thank you for that honest reply as well. And I think your honesty, your coming on here as well, will help so many other people to break that barrier in the future as well. So, you know, just realize there's bigger reasons, you know, for this as well. There always is multifaceted reasons. So, okay, thank you for that. Now, with the channeling, where do we want to take that now then?
Okay, so let me just ask. We could, like, what I think is the way that he can connect with because it's kind of different. Like he channels for where everybody's vibrating at when they watch it. So even if it's 10 years, 5 years down the road, he's going to tap into those frequencies. I'm not getting that. Like let me just see. Just 1 second. Is it? Yeah, we could try it that way, unless you have specific questions.
I do have a few questions. Let's go with a few questions first.
Okay.
Well, this is very interesting how, you know, you're able to sort of go in from the trance channeling and almost just bring this energy through here right now. So, questions in the moment that I've got, if I try to make it sort of it helps everyone. Okay, let's start from there. What are some of the more important reasons why we're having this human experience? I think that's, you know, always an interesting questions to different entities. So yeah, St.Germain, why are we having this experience?
Oh yes, welcome. I'm St.Germain. Jesus and Buddha are present as well. We welcome you. We are excited for your journey. We are showing our channel that it is an experience of polarities. It is an experience of vibration. That is why you are all here. Many are saying, well, I am not having joy on planet Earth. And we would say you are here to awaken. You are here to remember who you are as conscious beings. And every other lifetime, you did not realize that you had the power to do this. You had beliefs outside of yourself that God or the universe was outside of you. How could I change my reality if I believe that all my decisions are made outside of me? If I believe that God is the one who ruins my crops when he brings in a storm, then how do I have the power to change my reality? In this lifetime, you are all awakening to remember that you are the universe, that you are consciousness, and that you have the power to change frequencies in this now moment. This is why that many of you are having anxiety. It is all the past lifetimes, the frequencies where you did not have the power to change fears back to love. They are coming to the surface at this time. There are people having panic attacks, and we would say that it is arising from deep within you. It is arising from your past lifetimes, but you are seeing it as something that's happening in this lifetime. If you are judging the panic as something bad or wrong, the physical body will begin to react. It is not the panic that is causing the fear. It is your reaction to it. It is your we would say your judgment on it. If you are judging panic and anxiety as something fearful, then that's your physical body will react. Instead, we would recommend to observe it and give it love. The panic and fear are there to be loved. In the other lifetimes, you did not realize that you had the power to wrap your consciousness and around this panic and fear and transmute it back to love. We are tapping into the frequencies of your viewers at this time, and this is where we are showing our channel that the frequencies are vibrating at. There are many that are panic and fear, and they are coming to your channel to find solace, to find comfort, and to find something to decrease their anxiety. Can I find the answers? And we would say all the answers are within you. They are not outside of you. And every time you're feeling the panic and fear, know that it is, you have the power within you to transmute this fear back to love. That is what you are here to do. You are here to transmute and play with the frequencies. You are here to take the consciousness within you of divine love and transmute the darkness back to light. The darkness is love that has forgotten it is light, and it is, if you are believing that you are a victim of suffering instead of a warrior of experience, then you will remain in that victim vibration. You will remain in poor me, and you will remain in a vibration of fear. You do not have the power to change your reality if you're vibrating in fear. It is not possible. You can only change it from where you're vibrating at. What if I was not a victim? What if there was no suffering? Is it my perception that everyone is suffering? If you're here to play a game of polarities and it is only a game, would you say that when you're playing your video games that it is that there are people suffering in your video games? No, you go ahead and continue to play. It does not upset you. You're viewing your own game on planet Earth. You are getting upset, and the physical body reacts to this. The ego consciousness is telling you to fear the panic and anxiety. It is telling you to fear it so that your physical body reacts and you create an illness in your body. What if you observed it? If you were having a panic or a fear and you simply observed it and gave it love, it could not last. If you do this in the now moment, you will instantly transmute the fears back to love, and it cannot stay. It is that your egoic consciousness is not wanting you to awaken. It is saying, I need to run the show. And your spirit is saying, it is time for me to run the show. And it is a battle of the ego and consciousness. But if you simply observed it in the now moment, it would instantly transmute. The fear cannot be there. The panic and anxiety that many of you are experiencing with your panic attacks cannot be there if you are observing it in the now moment. It is that removing the judgment from it. There is something wrong. What if I invited it in? What if I loved it? What if I surrounded it with my love? Could it feel better? We would say that the panic and fear of the physical body's reaction or the pain in the physical body is your judgment upon it. We would say to stop judging any illness or pain that you have. There are many that are watching this channel that have illness in their body and they have pain in their body and they're judging it as something bad or wrong. What if you observed it with love? What if you looked at it with the eyes of love? Would it still be painful? We would say that it is your judgment upon it of being painful from the ego consciousness. You were telling your physical body's consciousness to fear this emotion, and that was what we would say that all illnesses are. There is a root emotion at every bottom of every illness, and if you observe it with love, it will transmute back to love. You are a vibrational frequency. Every cell in your body is a vibration, and you are able to transmute frequencies from one state to another. This is a very natural thing for all of you to do. You are creating with every thought. As you create from your thoughts, there is another aspect of you that unfolds your unfolds the other decision in another timeline in the same dimension of the third dimension, but it unfolds your other decision. You cannot make a wrong answer. We are choosing questions that the viewers are asking at this time, and one of them is how I have made a wrong decision. There are those of you that are beating yourself up for making the wrong decision. I have made the wrong decision in my life, and this is where I've ended up. And we would say there's always another aspect of you that unfolds the other decision in another timeline in a third dimension reality, and you cannot get it wrong. You're here to explore and experience frequencies, and as you expand your consciousness and make your decisions, you unfold that frequency in front of you, and it reflects back to you in your reality. If you are forgiving oneself for making your decisions and seeing it as an experience instead of as something you did detrimental or something that you did wrong, then it would free up space and you would feel more light in your body. You would feel happier. I have had this experience. Instead of saying that you did something wrong, change it to I have had this experience and it is only an experience, and get into a vibration of a lighter vibration so that you may change the next decision that you make, that you would unfold a new reality. It is, our channel requires water. One moment, please. Oh, yeah. So he started picking questions from.
Well, I just want to just thank you for everything that that's just come through there for the audience, right? I know that, you know, I was listening back and I just, you know, can put the audience in well, put myself in their shoes, and I know it will be very useful. What about the times that we live in right now as well? Because you know, there's just so much change in this world taking place. If it's not the abortion issues in America, if it's not, you know, the ongoing conflict in the Ukraine and other issues, you know, that are taking place right now, what does what would Saint-Germain's, I'll say group, you know, respond back to that? Yeah.
Okay, that's a great question. Thank you. Oh, excellent question, Kevin. We would say that there are many in the collective that are asking this question. One moment, please. I just have to go deeper. Just 1 second. Oh yes, welcome. I am Saint-Germain. There are many in the collective that are asking this question. We are showing our channel that if one is making a decision, the universe is responding to it. When you are looking at your planet as a collective, it is being created in this now moment based on where everyone's vibrating at. When the war broke out in Ukraine, it was the reaction of the people that on the planet, that the reaction increased increased the vibrational frequencies to more fear. They're bringing up fears from past lifetimes. We would say everything is in perfect alignment from our perspective. There's nothing broken, but many on the planet are judging it as something good, bad, right, or wrong. They're judging it as if something is broken on the planet. And within those judgment increases the vibration of fear. If everyone had looked at the Ukraine war in love and not judgment, if they had looked at the Russian leader within the eyes of love and not judged, it would have settled and ended much sooner. We would say that it is not broken. All those who have participated or are participating in that war at this time have volunteered as their souls have volunteered to come at this time to transmute. They are transmuting old vibrational frequencies. We are showing our channel the many of the Nazi war frequencies or the Holocaust have been transmuted within this war of Ukraine. It is the volunteers of the people that came to the planet to transmute. We would also like to mention that there is, you have all played both roles. You were saying, the Russian leader is so mean. And we would say, how many lifetimes have you had that you came and played that role of the polarity of what you are? You were here to experience polarities, and you were always changing roles. In one lifetime, if you had harmed someone, it is, and then you came back, and to this lifetime you were transmuting the what within you, the own judgment on yourself for having that lifetime. If you look at the Russian leader and are judging him, it is because you have that judgment within yourself of the times that you played that role, and you have not yet forgiven yourself or transmuted it back to love. This is simply what it is. It is always a reflection of where you're vibrating at. If someone knocks on your door and they point out that you haven't shoveled your step, or that your step is broken, and they are criticizing, give gratitude that they're showing you a reflection of how often you criticize yourself. If someone knocks on your door and they hand you flowers and tell you you look beautiful, give gratitude that they're showing you that you have been complimenting yourself. It is nothing more than that. And this is where we are showing Tara that the vibrational frequency of the planet is vibrating in fears, as the past lifetimes, as Mother Earth shakes up the planet, and past lifetimes of fears are coming to the surface. You all have within you the ability to transmute those fears back to love, where in the other lifetimes you did not have that ability. You thought that God was outside of you, and you did not have the power to change it. You are now all empowered to change it. We would recommend that as these past lifetimes come to the surface, whether it be in abortion laws, or judgment on abortion laws, or a war in Ukraine, as it is coming to the surface, we would say that it is also what movies are coming out in your theaters. It would be a reflection of where, what frequencies are coming to the surface to be transmuted. As they are coming up, we would say, we would recommend to be more empathetic instead of sympathetic. The difference being is that if you were sympathetic, you were saying that person is in pain. The people that are in the war are in pain, and I love them so much that I want to help them. And so therefore you take them on their pain, and you begin to see them as a victim. You see them as a victim of suffering, and then you lower your vibration to match that suffering. You lower your vibration to match their frequency, and then you keep the planet there with that vibration. What if I looked at it in the eyes of empathy? What if I said, I'm empathetic. I can understand where those what those people are experiencing, and I can understand where what they're going through at this time, and I will send love from my heart, but I will not take on their pain. I will not see them as a victim of suffering. I will see them as having an experience. This would shift the whole planet, as everyone's intention would be that of love instead of that of fear. When you're seeing people as suffering or struggling, you instantly lower your vibration to match theirs, and it keeps everything in a vibration of fear. It keeps everything in a vibration of victim. It is them to send the love out but not take it on as their own. It is to observe without judgment, to observe, we would say to observe and send love from your heart instead of seeing people as suffering would change the world. If everyone did this at once, it would change and shift, and more love could come to the surface. You are always transmuting. There's nothing you have to do to be on this planet. It is not your job to fix everything around you. Your job is to expand your consciousness and send out love without taking on someone else's pain. When you are seeing someone else as having a human experience as suffering or struggling, and you feel sorry for them, you interfere with their soul's journey. Their soul is saying, I created this in my reality, and I created this for my highest good, and I created this to have my experience. But if you try to fix it, then you interrupt their soul's journey. Instead, send love from your heart. Be empathetic, not sympathetic. Blessings.
Wow. Okay. That was awesome. And congratulations for your first public channeling with my audience as well. I really appreciate that, you doing that, because I know that, it's been a process for you, and hats off for you doing it. And that was fantastic. That was really, really good. Now, just before we go as well, just remind people of your website as well, please.
It's taraarnoldart.com. And you can find my YouTube channel there, my courses, my art, everything. So, and I'm also on Instagram. It's at Channeling St.Germain. So come and join me on there. And if you have any questions, send me a message on Instagram. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to meet you. And I want to say thank you to you, Kevin, for making me feel so comfortable. And you're an awesome interviewer. So that alone was like how I got the confidence, because I watched your interviews and you're really good at it. And I appreciate it, how you make everyone feel so comfortable. So for people to come on your platform. So that's half the battle for getting the inner child to feel safe. So
I appreciate that. I really do as well. And just to let people know, all the links that we've spoken about today are in the Show More section of the YouTube video. So just go to Show More, just below the YouTube video. And of course, everything's on They Call Us Channelers as well, which is the website for this ongoing docu-series. I look forward to getting you back on, Terry, definitely in the not too distant future, because that was very interesting to just hear your story and everything else, and but really interesting, obviously, to connect with Saint-Germain. And I know that he's got a lot more to say, and I appreciate as well the reading, the small reading that you did for me. That really was more empowering and useful than you can imagine. It's very, very interesting what was said. So just thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me. And thanks for everybody who's viewing this. I appreciate it.